Isn't it amazing how circumstances in our lives open us up to all kinds of things that we could have never planned for in a million years? And my life is no exception to that rule. So, as many of you know, I'm a recovered CEO. In the last couple years of that career, I was in a coaching program entitled The Entrepreneurial Edge. The host was Patricia McDade. Man, this woman, she was powerful, man. She was on fire, and it was kind of in your face coaching, man. And not that sometimes we don't need that, and I certainly did. But I had been in her program for a year, had accomplished amazing results, had completely transformed my business by implementing what I had learned out of that experience. And so, I graduated the year program. I was going to join the master's program. But in between the two, I got this great idea. You know what? I'm going to send her a thank you card. I was honestly thankful and grateful for her assistance in helping me get myself out of the way and further peel the layers back and reveal this divine masterpiece that was within me that I had no clue about at that particular point in time. So I sent her a thank you card, and I figure, you know what? Why just send a thank you card when you can also send a thank you card with music? So I burned a little CD with just 2 songs recorded live. Figure, hey man, what a great idea. So I sent it off, didn't think anything more of it. And somewhere down the road, I was in her program again, starting the master's program, where I think it was once a month or every other month, we got together for a live event where she would coach people in front of the room. And you know what? You wanted to have your act together when you were up on stage, because if she detected any BS, she would call you out and then some. Whatever it took to break it down, get rid of it, move through it, right? So I'm up on stage, I'm nervous because, there's like 200 people in the room. You want to look good. You don't want to look like a knucklehead. And so I'm prepared. I'm ready, profit and loss, sales strategy, closing techniques, whatever it might have been at that particular point in time. And then she asked me a question that just blew me away. She said, Mark, what are you doing with your music? And I'm like, oh my God, there was only one answer I could give her. Nothing. I wasn't doing anything with my music. And then she proceeded to get upset at me. She's like, oh, Mark, let me tell you something. There are people that can play, and then there are those that can play with their heart, passion, and soul. She goes, you have that ability. And furthermore, you're ripping off the world by not sharing it. You need to come back with a CD for sale the next meeting, or don't come back at all. You can go sit down now. I mean, I didn't get a chance to rebuttal, debate, argue. I dragged myself back to my seat, totally freaked out, because music was for me. It wasn't for anybody else. Why would I want to share with anybody else? I could speak to a group and 1,000 people in the room and feel like a fish in water. Put the guitar in my hand and 2 people in the room, and I became this total shy kid. And so I was terrified. But you know what? I knew that if I didn't come back with a CD for sale, they were not going to let me back in that room. So I made my very first kind of pre-run CD. It was called To Shine the Light, and maybe had 5 songs on it. And, so I produced it, recorded it live, recorded it, burnt CDs, came back with CDs for sale, come into that meeting, and had the CDs there available. And of course, they let me in the room, and I continued along my merry journey. But little did I know how that meeting, that session, that little pre-run CD would ultimately change my life and open up the door to the healing and transformational work that I'm doing today with music. Shortly thereafter, I had a neighbor at the time. His name is Steve DiStanzalo. Phenomenal drummers, toured with David Crosby, David Gilmour, my hero, by the way, all kinds of different phenomenal artists. And this dude's drumming along, along with them. And he was my neighbor, and he was this really cool dude. And he just said, hey, you know what? You've been talking about making this album. Let's make this album, man. Let's take this material you've written. I got a buddy who'll give us bro time on studio time. Let's do it. Let's produce it. I'll play drums. I'll produce it for you. And we'll hire out a bass player and we'll get to work. So we made that album. That album ended up becoming Sueños Infinitos, which is part of my Vibrational Success series today. And so you look at the breadcrumbs, you look at the unfolding of this journey, even though I encountered resistance, even though I was scared about it, but I kind of wanted to have this experience of making an album. And so, back then you had to run 1,000 CDs to get a production, run. And I just gave them away to people. Little did I know that CD, having a neighbor who was a drummer and a producer, having Patricia get some in-your-face coaching in my face, which needed it. Otherwise, I was never going to share that music. But that CD that ultimately evolved out of that was a CD that ended up getting in the hands of Dr. Ronald Jones, the former top consultant from NASA, who discovered the healing frequencies in my music and ultimately set me on this most amazing journey to discovering my own gifts, to discovering the healing energy that was coming through me, how I could use music as a way to help penetrate and permeate listeners' energy fields, ultimately with the intention of helping them to heal and restore harmony to their body, their mind, their spirit. So even though we go through the twists and turns, and maybe you're going through the twists and turns in your own life experience right now, realize that those little chance meetings, those little things that terrify the hell out of you at the very beginning, that scare you, that upset you, ultimately can be part of your journey to opening up and discovering your gift. We don't need to be ripping off the world anymore by not shining our light and by not bringing our gift forward into the world. And why should I be the only one who gets called out on stage, right? I wanted to share that message and a little bit of this story with you to encourage you. Work past your fear. Work past your reservations. Work past the stories that it's not good enough, it's not powerful enough, people aren't going to like it, all that stuff we love to tell ourselves. Set those stories aside and make the commitment to shine, to share your music. The world needs to hear your music, for you to shine your light. That is the catalyst for transformation and change in your own life, but also in the world that we live in. Imagine what could unfold if we all became conduits for high frequency expression, light, and love, and ultimately how that could help change the world we live in today. So the gauntlet has been tossed down. I want to encourage you with that. I have a Vibrational Success music series, which I'll link below in comments. I also have a mentoring program, which is designed to help people work past their minutia, work past their stuff, and ultimately flip the switch and become activated with harmonizing frequencies and become a more powerful conduit for transformation in their lives and in their world. There's a link below in that if you're interested in signing up for a strategy session. I'd love to have an opportunity to connect with you and look to see if it's a good fit to support you in bringing forward your passion, your purpose, your music, your calling out to a higher level so that you can jump in the ranks of helping make the world a better place. Hey, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. Make sure you comment in the comments below. I try to respond back to every comment, so lay them on me, and I would love to hear what it is that you had to say, what came up for you out of sharing this story, and ultimately how you can begin to move forward in a much more powerful way in bringing your beautiful music out into the world. Take care. Have a harmonious day.